Jessica. Welcome to the second episode of iPulse Talk. Today's episode is on working dogs, specifically military dogs, service dogs, and police dogs. Our guest here today is Officer Lehman and his dog, Dino. Dino, and my co-host, Marissa. Hi. So for all of those who don't know, what exactly is the role of a police dog?
The role of the police dog is to go ahead and help the police officers out and law enforcement personnel do things that we can't normally do out on the street. Since they have such a great sense of smell, they utilize their nose to go ahead and help us detect narcotics, explosives, help track out the bad guy that might be hiding somewhere that we need to go ahead and find.
So what requirements did it take for you to get into the K-9 unit?
The requirements that it took for me to get in the K-9 unit is basically you have to start out, you have to have a good evaluation. Every year you get evaluated with the police department, so you have to have a good eval showing that you don't have any disciplinary issues inside your eval. With that said, as long as you meet that requirement, then what happens, you have to be in good physical condition. You have to go through an obstacle course, you have a tryout. So basically they'll put an announcement out for all the canine handlers, and sometimes you'll get a 4 or 5, sometimes you'll get a list of 10 people that want to put in for the position. It could be 1 dog, it could be 2 dogs. And with that said, what happens is there's an interview process. After the interview process, we go up to an obstacle course that the candidates have to run an obstacle course to show that they're in physical shape. And it's the things that they're going to go ahead and encounter out on the street with the dog, with going over walls, crawling on the ground, sprinting, gunfire, lifting up heavy bags, simulating that it's a dog you're trying to go ahead and lift up over the fence. So that's just a pass or fail. We just want to make sure that they can meet those requirements. And if they can go ahead and meet those requirements in the time that we go ahead and give them, then what ends up happening is then we go to a file review. We'll review all the candidates' files to see and make sure that they're in good standing with the agency, and that they go ahead and show that they go ahead and work well with others on the department and everything, because it's a huge team thing. You got to work with this dog all the time on the road, and you got to count on him, and he has to count on you to go ahead and successfully complete what you're looking to do. So once you go ahead and meet all those requirements, what happens at that point in time, you'll fall into a category listed, and you'll be in number order, and from that point, we'll go ahead and pick the number 1 guy, number 2 guy, go down the list until we don't need any more dogs.
I imagine it was very hard to get in with all those requirements.
It is very hard. It's one of those things that a lot of people love to do, but also with that said, you just got to understand the amount of time and requirements that it takes to have this dog, and the amount of time that you put in with it on and off duty. When you're home alone with the dog and everything like that, is a huge responsibility that you have.
So what criteria did Dino have to meet to get into the K-9 unit?
So Dino, what happens is basically we go around, we shop around for dogs, and we go around to different breeders throughout the state of Florida. And with that said, once we go to these breeders, they'll show us what types of dogs that they have at the time, which ones that they think are going to be good police dogs, and from that point, we'll take them off to a neutral site, and we'll run them through a few different things to see and make sure that they like to interact with people, that they're not skittish, that they're good around being around people and everything. So we just want to make sure also too, like the energy, the drive that they have, that they want to go ahead and go to work. So
does Dino have to continue training while he's already in the unit?
Yeah, so to get into the unit, we have to go through a 480-hour course. The handler and the dog have to go through 480 hours. That's regulated by the state of Florida. And at the end of that, what we have to do is we have to take a series of tests. And we perform those tests, and we have to show, and we have to pass all those tests in order to be able to go out on the road and work. So after that happens, K-9 Dino gets evaluated every Wednesday. Every Wednesday is our K-9 training day with the dogs. So we get together with other agencies, other dogs, and we're tasked with different types of scenarios, or it might just be simple obedience. It might be tracking to find pretend suspect hiding somewhere, building searches, and the dog is to perform, and then we go ahead and we document it with a report just to show, and that's where they're evaluated every week on every Wednesday. And then every year we have to go ahead, just like we had to take that test at the end of school, we have to take it every year. So we have to show that we're proficient in all those things that we do. Yeah, he's super lovable,
He's
right?
such a
So he
baby.
kind of has like
You wanna
final
take him home?
exams
I
like we
understand.
do.
I understand.
You said that they have different types of evaluations for different scenarios. Does Dino have like a specialty, like a scenario he's really good at?
Yes, so Dino is trained in explosives.
Oh wow.
Yes, so he's trained in
Good boy.
many different explosives. We do a lot of work throughout the city. Sometimes we have to go outside the city and help other agencies. Like for instance, like FAU, they have their football games per NCAA. We have to go ahead and assist them with doing sweeps around the stadium. Sometimes we have some special speakers, guest speakers that come into the city, whether it be here at Lynn, when they had the debates. We had to be over here helping out when they had the debates a few years back. So yeah, he's really good at what he does. He loves going to work. He loves sniffing them out. He's never found a real one in
That's
a
good.
real life situation, which is very good. But he's excellent at what he does.
Oh,
And as you can see
he's
right
super
now,
cute to boot.
the one thing he's getting comfortable with right now is he's on the couch.
Yeah.
And at home, he's not allowed on the couch. Yeah.
I think every dog owner says that, but then we always let them on the couch anyway.
Yes. He's like, Dad, he's like, I love this.
Well, in Queensland, Australia, there was a puppy candidate. His name was Gavel,
Okay.
and he was actually kicked out of the police academy for being too friendly. So he was adopted by the Queensland governor and given the official title of Vice Regal Dog. So now he lives in the governor's mansion. He greets the guests who come in, and he accompanies the governor to official meet and greets, and he greets everybody. And I think it's a super cute story, but that got me really wondering, what is specifically the selection and training process? How do you determine if they're too friendly or just friendly enough?
Well, you want them to be a friend, like Dino is right now. You know, he's super friendly around people. My previous canine, I had Canine Max. He just retired a few months back. He worked up to the age of 10 and a half, which is pretty long for a canine. He didn't like being around settings with people like this. I couldn't have him around things and have communication with you guys. We would never be this close. Dino, when we selected Dino out, we saw how friendly he was. We saw other people around him, which was great, and that's what we want. We want to be able to interact. We want to be able to go to schools with the dog and show them off to the kids. It's a great thing for the community and everything else like that to bring the dog out to things, because everybody wants to see the police dog.
Yeah.
You know, nobody cares about all the other equipment.
No,
Everybody wants
the
to see
dog's
the dog.
always the winner.
So when it came to Dino, that was one of the things that we looked at as far as seeing him interacting with the people that were there and how friendly he was. But sometimes it does happen where a police dog goes through police school, and just like that scenario you just told me, they'll go through police school, and once they come out and they hit the streets and it's time to go work, some dogs just say, you know what, this ain't for me anymore. You know, and sometimes what'll happen is they'll be retired out, and maybe they'll be made into some other type of service dog, or they'll get adopted by somebody.
Oh, well, I'm glad he made the cut.
Oh, he made the cut. Nobody's taking him.
No.
Are there any like risks associated? Like if someone were to retire a service dog and then someone like that was domestic were to adopt it, are there any like scenarios they have to be aware of? Like are there certain keywords that dogs listen for or train for?
Well, here's the thing too, with police dogs, like specifically, like for police agencies, once the dogs work with you for so long, I've never seen it where an actual handler has not elected to take their dog out the retirement. So I can't speak for that, because everybody that I know, you have such a bond with these dogs, like you don't want to let them go.
Yeah.
You know, for whatever it is, you know, they're coming home, they're staying home with you for the rest of the time.
Well, I actually recently just read the story. There was a police officer in, I believe it was in New York, and after his dog retired, he actually left the dog at a shelter, and the police department found out about it. They got the dog back, and they ended up demoting the police officer for that.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah. But this is his vest, Dino's vest.
Yes.
So is this his bulletproof vest?
No, this is not his bulletproof vest. This is his harness that he does most of his work in. Specifically when we're out looking for the bad guy, when the bad guy's hiding. This is his harness that I use, that I hook up his different leads to. I hook him right up to this metal lead right here. It could be a 15-foot leash or a 30-foot leash.
My puppy.
Oh
He
yeah.
is
Oh my
so
goodness.
cute.
But as far as bulletproof vests, currently Dino does not have a bulletproof vest, but we are looking into that for the dogs. The only thing is down here in Florida, it is extremely hot.
Yeah.
So it's not like he'd be able to wear it all the time. It'd be for certain situations and scenarios where he would have to put it on.
How often do you think he would wear it?
He would wear it when it would be, for instance, like if we were going to come into this building and we had to look inside this building for somebody, this would be a great example where we could put it on him because there's AC, it's cool in here, we're not out in the street where it's the middle of the summer, the heat's beating down, he's all black, he's attracting the rays of the sun, we don't want him to overheat. At least with these ones right here, they're a little bit more breathable, but as far as the bulletproof, it's going to keep that heat in. So even on a very hot day when we're going ahead and looking for the suspect, what I will do at times is I'll drench this in water so that we're there, it'll keep him cooler for a little bit longer to give him a lot longer working time. And then if I need another dog to come assist me, I'll get on the radio and ask that, say, hey, listen, I need another dog to come help me out. But at least this way here, I can kind of cool them off. And if there's officers nearby, sometimes I'll have them bring me over water. Or if there's somebody out in their yard, I'll ask them to use their hose and hose them off and cool them down.
Aw.
Yeah, it's very important when you're out working with the dogs to watch their health, and you want to make sure that they're not giving you any signs that they're starting to overheat, because once they overheat, it's moments, that you've got to cool them off.
And what are the signs that you look for overheating?
You look at their ears, you look at their tongue, their nose, so there's different signs right there that you can tell. You also look at their eyes, to make sure. So you don't want to stress them out too much, and you don't want to get them too hot. You can, when they're working, and if they do, you just need to shut it down and just start cooling them off and have another dog come over and help you out.
Okay. Well, in 2016, there was a military dog deployed in Afghanistan. She was ranked as staff sergeant because military dogs are actually ranked one rank higher than their handler as a sign of respect and to make sure the dog's not going to be abused. Her name was Laika, and she was sent into a compound to subdue an enemy combatant, and she was shot 4 times to the right leg by an AK-47. She still managed to subdue the combatant and ended up saving her whole platoon. Unfortunately, she did lose her right leg after a 7-hour surgery, but she was awarded a Medal of Heroism for her bravery. So I'm sure that was a very scary moment for her handler. So I was wondering if you have had any really scary moments with Dino, or what was the funniest moment you've had with Dino on the job?
The funniest moment was when he first started learning how to swim.
Oh.
You talk about the true doggy paddle, and his legs were coming completely out. My retired dog, Max, he swam gracefully. Watching him swim, when I put him into the pool to watch him swim, I could not stop laughing. Nobody could stop laughing. It was just like, kaboom, kaboom, kaboom.
I can imagine with those really big paws.
Yes. But I mean, the scariest moment, I mean, it's always scary, especially during the nighttime when you're getting called out. I'm 24/7. This phone sits beside my bed at night. It could be 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Currently, I'm the only police dog right now in the city of Boca Raton. And with that said, whenever they need me, when this phone rings, we need to be ready to go ahead and get out there. So 3 o'clock in the morning, we could show up to a stolen car where a bunch of guys bailed out that had guns, and ran into the woods or ran into a neighborhood. So it is scary because you're getting woken up in the middle of the night, and you're not actually working at the time that it's happening, so you're not listening to everything play out as it's happening. So now you're waking up, you're getting out there, you're speaking to officers, and you're hoping you're getting all the information that you need. So when you deploy K9 Dino out of the car and it's time to go look for these guys, we can successfully find them without him or I getting injured, or the people that are with us helping us.
So is it more rewarding or challenging to have a canine as a partner as opposed to a human partner?
It's definitely rewarding. I mean, I love coming to do things like this right here, and speaking about the dog, going to the local schools. I mean, I visit so many different schools throughout the year and do demonstrations for the little kids all the way up to adults, and they kind of get to see Dino and play with them, interact. I get to tell them about Dino just like we are today. And we also go to community events and stuff like that. Just recently, there was an event at Meisner Park, and they had a little fair going on the side of Meisner Park, and there was a big slide there, like the fair slides. So Canine Dino went up with me, and I threw him up on my shoulder, and we sat in a little sack and went down, and everybody was loving it.
That's so cute.
It's just about being in the community and rewarding. And what's even also rewarding with it too is, at the end of the day, you go through all this training with the dog. So much training. Every week you go to training. Every day while you're on your shift, you're doing something with the dog as far as training. And when it's time and you get that call, and it's 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you need to go look for the bad guys that are hiding somewhere, and he goes ahead and utilizes that nose of his, and I'm watching and reading him and showing the signs, and we find those guys hiding, 1 guy, 2 guys, 3 guys, maybe a mile away. That's very rewarding. Knowing that all the training that we go through is successfully putting these people in jail.
And what's the most challenging thing about working with Dino?
Honestly,
Nothing. He's perfect.
he loves to play too much. That's the only challenging thing. He doesn't know when to stop playing.
He's a play bug.
No, yeah. I mean, there's nothing challenging about him versus when I had Max, who's retired now. The challenging thing for me was being around other people with him. He didn't like being around other people. So that was very, right, buddy?
So cute. I know we touched on this earlier, but some police departments are taking dogs from shelters, specifically dogs that are on death row, and training them to be police dogs. So what are your thoughts on that?
Relax. Oh, everybody.
Hello.
He smells those treats.
Yeah, I have treats for him.
Hey, buddy.
Hi.
You want to give him a treat?
Yeah. Hello. Oh my goodness.
He's so smart.
Oh my god, he's so cute. His paws are huge. I can just imagine him swimming. Here you go.
You mentioned that Max had a difficult time trusting other people, but that you guys had a very close bond.
We had an extremely good bond. I mean,
when you first got him, did it take a while for him to warm up to you, or was that bond kind of right away?
It took a little while for us to warm up.
Okay.
Yeah, it definitely took a little while. I mean, seeing how big he was and like how unfriendly around others and stuff like that. But like after about 2 or 3 weeks, we started to create this bond. It's also very important to find out. Come on, buddy. Come on up here. You're sliding around over there. It's to find out specifically too what's going to make your dog happy. Also, what's going to motivate them, what makes them happy. Trying to find out what toys specifically. I was going to the toy store left and right, find this toy, that toy, just trying to find out. And now here's this toys.
He wants the treats.
Here's your toy. Come on up here, buddy. Come on.
That's so cute.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Where were we with that question? Right, buddy?
I think it was Marissa's question about the bond between you guys and how it was different from Max.
The bond with Max, Max was a total work dog. It was hard for him to turn it off. And as far as that goes, especially once he retired, and I started working with Dino, when I'd leave the house and I'd go out to the truck, Max would lay at the front door and look out the side windows, and wait there for until almost I got home sometimes, for the first 2 months. And then when I would take him for walks out the front door, he would drag me right to the police truck.
He wanted to go to work.
Going to work, and I was like, hey buddy, sorry.
No more work.
No more work right now.
So I'm assuming that Dino lives with you?
Dino does live with me. He's part of the family. So doesn't Max. It's great. I mean, the thing is you go to work with these dogs and you come home with them. You spend more time with them than you do with your family members. So you create that bond. I mean, it's like your brother.
So where does he sleep at night? Does he have a kennel or a dog bed?
He has a kennel, but he also has a dog bed too. He's free to sleep wherever he likes. So.
So you mentioned you have a retired police dog at home, Max.
House. You don't want to play? Come here. You want to play?
Oh, it's so cute.
He wants to play. He wants to play, right? He's like, Dad, I'm doing too much here. I haven't got to play yet.
That's so cute. Can you show us any tricks since he's in a playful mood?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Let me just put this down over here.
Okay.
Out of curiosity, what's the strength behind his bite, watching you guys play tug of war there?
What's that?
What's the strength behind his bite? Is there a way to measure that?
They have special tools to do that, but I mean, as far as that, I could not tell you.
Okay.
Like, between his and Max's was extreme.
Oh, wow.
Because how big he was.
Yeah.
You know, 6. Oh boy. Lots. So all his commands are in German too. You know, it's whatever you want to go ahead and make the commands. I mean, it could be anything. I've trained with one guy before. He got his dog at a very young age, and he loved the game of golf. So with that said, what he did is he trained his dog in golf commands. So he used like the cool name like Mulligan and 4, and he associated with that with what the dog had to do. Right, buddy? Here, Goose. So yeah, he's very good, very obedient. He loves to play with this thing. This is his toy. He will not let go of it. He loves to play.
He loves it a lot.
Right, buddy? Come on.
That
up on the
is
couch.
so cute.
Yeah.
So how do you balance his life as a police dog versus being a regular dog?
Police dog being a regular dog?
Yeah.
He's very good with it, honestly. Like once he takes off the uniform and he gets out of the truck and he comes home, he completely turns it off and loves to go out in the backyard and play ball with the kids. And if they're out there playing baseball, he's chasing around the ball for them, bringing it back to them. So he's really good at it. But I mean, as far as like company coming over and everything else like that, only immediate family he's around. As far as anybody else, when they come to the house, he goes in his crate.
Does he ever get to go to the dog park or dog beach?
Unfortunately, no.
No.
Yeah, just because there's other dogs there, and it's a huge responsibility having a police dog. So, I mean, as far as the dog beach goes, no, just because other dogs are there off leash and stuff like that, and he's a huge responsibility for the city, and we can't afford him to get hurt. You know, even in horseplay with the other dogs.
Yeah.
But like Canine Max before, like we did training before at like going to the Rapids water park. So it was really cool. We went there with other police dogs like after hours, and the dogs got to go ahead and perform and do tasks in the water and stuff like that with the other dogs.
That's adorable. Is there anything else you'd like our viewers to know about Max or yourself?
Yeah, so every year there's a competition. It's a canine competition that the Boynton Beach Police Department that puts on. And it's every March, usually this year it's March 28th. It's from 2 to 6, and what happens at that point is there's probably anywhere between 40 to 50 police dogs throughout the state. Sometimes some dogs come from out of state, out of country, and we go all ahead and we compete for the top dog. And there's obstacle courses and everything that you're gonna face out on the road with the police dog. So it's a good event. It's a free event for the community to come out to, especially for kids and everything. They have obstacle courses for little kids there, but most importantly, they get to see the dogs in action, where a lot of people don't get to see the dogs in action.
That's so cute. Well, thank you so much for your time, and thank you to our viewers. My name is Veronika Cichowska. Have a nice night.